Thanks so much. An important discussion when it comes to Alzheimer's and the fight. Alzheimer's Awareness Month happening right now. Kelly Cameron, familiar friend to many, and Maria Howard from the Alzheimer's Society of BC joining us right now. We've got the pins on in support, but first let's talk about the reality of the fight going on for families across Canada and here in BC.
Well, the reality is that Alzheimer's dementia is growing, and it's growing amazingly quick. And so today is World Alzheimer's Day, which is a really important day to stop and think about those people and those families, those individuals who are impacted by Alzheimer's and dementia. And so the theme, actually, of the campaign, and it's actually a world campaign, is Remember Me, because memory is one of those things that we all associate with going when someone has Alzheimer's. But in fact, memory has a much more significant importance to Alzheimer's, because we're all unique people. We all want to be remembered somewhere. We all want a legacy. And so what's really important for people who begin to have a diagnosis of Alzheimer's dementia is that we want to remember them for actually who they are as a person, not for their disease and the behaviors that come as they change.
It is so important to celebrate, and a dementia friend is, you're not a sports anchor here right now, no. You're on behalf of, your life has been touched by Alzheimer's. Share that a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm very close with my grandma, the Meister as I call her. She's soon to be 89, and she suffers from dementia. And she lives in Toronto, and it's gotten progressively worse. And being out here in Vancouver, it's a little tough because I can't help out as much as I'd like. But luckily, we have the support with our family and with where she lives, that she gets the help she needs. I volunteered a couple seniors' homes here in Vancouver, and some people, they don't have the support, and if they do have some of the support, it's not necessarily emotional support, which we all need if any of us are struggling with anything. So that's why I really like Dementia Friends, because it's just trying to get people on board, not necessarily even with time or money, although both those things are nice, but just with understanding and going to the website and making a pledge that you'll try and be patient, you'll try and understand a little bit more about dementia and help people just in your community.
And it's an important role with the social circle. What advice do you give for those battling it and knowing that the family, friends are stepping up to support those that need that, that support in itself? What's a good thing to keep in mind with balancing that out?
Well, you know, there's a lot of stigma that comes with having Alzheimer's. People believe it has a lot of changes, and what's really important is to get information and education and begin to actually understand what it means to have Alzheimer's and what it means for the family, for the caregivers. Because while there are some classic symptoms that come with having Alzheimer's, like memory loss and the inability to do things you've always done, like maybe put your shoes on or brush your teeth, everybody goes through it very differently, and everybody goes through it at a very different pace. And even when you have a diagnosis of Alzheimer's, you can still have a real productive life, and you can still be part of community. And so the Alzheimer's Society of BC really promotes what we call as a dementia-friendly community, which is having the community understand what it's like to support an individual with dementia, but also the caregivers, the family, so that person is more productive, that person can continue to go out and bank and shop and go for coffee and feel safe, and the family can feel safe because they don't have to worry. Yeah. So the key is asking for help and getting that stigma out of the place that it's okay to ask for help, and getting the information and getting the education so people can make the decisions while people can talk about it, as opposed to then now we're in a crisis and now we have to panic and make a decision. And
I think a lot of the stigma too stems from frustration and just not understanding the disease. And I think people who have it, they can get frustrated as they start to realize that they're losing their memory and sense of self and sense of independence. And the family, it can be frustrating too, selfishly, because you don't know what to do when this is happening to one of your family members. So it's kind of turning that frustration or anxiety, hopefully, into positive action.
The Alzheimer's Society is a great resource. My dad suffers from early onset Alzheimer's. He is in an assisted living situation, but for years, we battled, and I was frustrated because I didn't know what was happening with him, and he was trying to hide it from me. And one of the greatest lessons that I got from your website, from those resources, from that community, was once you understand that your parent or your loved one or your friend has dementia, you can back off for a second, calm down, and as soon as you do, it makes it easier to sort of draw in and draw out that person behind the disease, right? And so how do we get in touch?
Well, we encourage people to come to the website, alzheimerbc.org. We have 15 different resource offices across the province, so the supports we provide are provincial. It's not just for the Lower Mainland. And we have a number of support groups for families, for people with the Alzheimer's dementia. We have a wonderful exercise program called Mind is in Motion, which is a really unique way of bringing the individual with Alzheimer's and their caregiver to a fitness program, which also has social support. We also look at, recognizing that if someone has been diagnosed at an early age, because people do get diagnosed in their 40s, that you as a spouse may have a very different issue than somebody who may be in their 80s. So our support groups are set up so they're really individual to that person. And it's also learning how to talk to the healthcare system. Like you're saying, how do you ask your doctor the right questions? How do you start to maneuver through all the different supports? Because there is help out there. We just want to help people and support people to reach out and know how to do that.
And it's so different for everybody.
It's unique for everybody, which is remember me. It's a legacy. Everybody wants to remember in their uniqueness, and so that's why their care also has to be centered around their person, not around the disease.
And it's unique at different times too, because it changes, and each day is a new day and kind of a new reality, a new normal, so everyone kind of has to adjust along the way.
And the websites, as you mentioned, dementiafriends.ca, another excellent resource. Powerful message, ladies. Thanks so much for coming on and sharing that.
Thanks for having us.